Welcome back to Skate Date.
Welcome to Skate Date, your new favorite podcast. The one good thing to come out of 2020. Oh, wait. There's another good thing to come out of 2020.
What else?
Your hair. Your hair looks so good.
My hair? I thought it was that Trump didn't win the election.
That too. That's also a good thing that came out of 2020.
We're trying a little bit of a different setup, y'all. We started spring cleaning in the almost winter time. So now you get to see a little bit more. You can actually see the table now, and
we moved ourselves back a couple feet.
Yeah, we don't have to be super zoomed in because we have a new backdrop.
The camera is literally right at the edge of our table, so we're just like looking directly at the camera.
Yeah, so now if I actually decide to decorate the table like I did for our Halloween episode, you'll actually be able to see what's on the table.
It was decked out. It was wild.
Yeah, so.
But for people who are listening to the podcast, it's probably going to sound exactly the same.
Probably. Also, we have a fancy lens on the camera, so now Rebel doesn't look like a ghost.
It's a good day to be Rebel.
You can actually see that my melanin is popping, mm-hmm. And I'm a little concerned because my hair isn't really that dark, but I lightened it a little bit.
That's okay. It's fine.
But yeah, I got new hair today.
Yeah,
not
you
like
got new hair, like
not new bundles or new wig, but like I got my hair did for the first time in ever.
Do you feel like a queen?
I feel like a queen. I feel cute. I got it cut.
So cute. I really like how poppin' the curls are.
Exactly. But yeah.
They're so springy. I love them.
Anyways. New president!
New president! I'm so happy it was announced this morning.
The people are blowing their speakers out with the song Donald Trump.
Fuck Donald Trump.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, as Mr. Rogers would say.
Donald Trump. But like not really.
But yeah, so that's pretty exciting. We got a new episode for y'all. We're
going to talk about the election, and then we're going to talk about keeping the money in the skate community and some other stuff. So let's do it.
So I'm Courtney Shove.
And I'm Rebel Rouser.
And here we go.
This is Skate Date. Skate Date is a podcast made by two roller skaters who fell in love and decided to make a podcast to talk not just about roller skating, but about all the rest of the world as well. Mm-hmm. So let's jump right into both the real world and the wheel world. But first, before we do that,
fake ads.
We got some fake ads. So remember, people who would like to advertise with us, whether you are a company, whether you are a lone seller, whether you are looking for a place to prominently display your singles ad, we've got you. With all of the passion and power that we put into these fake ads, we would also put into your business.
Oh, yeah.
So
wait, what was that?
We just time traveled.
Rebel, please. You're not making any sense.
I fast forwarded through our fake ad.
Why on earth would you do that? People love the fake ads.
I really think you're missing the point here. You should be amazed, bewildered, terrified that I've just developed such mastery over the space-time continuum.
No, you probably just went and bought that stupid fast forward machine toy and you think it works.
Okay, first, it's not stupid. Second, imagine what the fast forward machine could do for you.
Fast forward the days between election and results?
Done.
Get me through holidays with your family?
Rude.
Okay, waiting for your ankle to heal after falling really bad at the skate park.
Easy.
The fast forward machine speeds past all the difficult parts of life.
Get the fast forward machine. It only costs your soul.
There are definitely no negative side effects.
None at all. Just get the fast forward machine now.
What if I don't have a soul? Is there like a loan officer that can like loan me a soul?
Yes, his name is Mr. Fast.
Oh my gosh.
He's actually the creator of the fast forward machine.
Mr. Fast. That's very original, babe.
Thank you. I think this whole ad is pretty original because I wrote the whole thing.
All right, y'all, let's jump into the real world.
Yeah, let's do the real world. Okay, so the election happened. The election happened on Monday? No, Tuesday. Yeah, it always happens on Tuesday. What am I thinking?
That Tuesday?
The election happened on Tuesday, and today is Saturday. And between Tuesday, the election, and Saturday, we have just been sitting here biting our nails, waiting and wondering and hoping and wishing.
Yeah, it was really fun just like watching the news 24/7, and like every time my phone would go like bling, we got a news report, reading it and being like, and then having to go to Trump's Twitter to be like, what is he saying? And then read all the Twitter comments to make sure that his followers weren't going to start a race riot. Honestly, it was really fun.
Honestly, I imagine that this is how people feel about, like, the Super Bowl. Like, we were so invested. Yeah, no, so I imagine that this is the way fans of football feel every year at the Super Bowl, except times, like, a million, because it's about human rights. Yeah,
I was all like, there's a lot more at risk, definitely.
No, I'm saying like the
you're
level
rooting
of
for
investment.
Your person.
Yeah, rooting for your person the same way that people are rooting for their team. Like, people are like diehard, and I've never quite understood the whole Super Bowl thing. Don't kill me, people who really care about the Super Bowl. I've never quite understood it, and I feel like I get it a little bit more. Because if they have, like, a fraction of the investment that I have in this election for their football team.
And see, I always thought, like, how can people be so invested and so, like, emotionally involved with sports and then not really care about real-world issues that you should be fighting for? Like, to me, I've always been like, I don't get it. Like, that team is doing nothing for you. Like, so I've never really understood the concept of, like, being a number one diehard fan, like, of a team and rooting and then be like, yeah, everything's on the line. And, like, for me, I'm all like, that's what you chose to, like, give all that to?
Because I feel like I agree with you. Like, I didn't understand that at all. But what I was saying was not, like, that I get that they would give their all for the team, but I've never felt this passionately about someone winning something before.
Yeah.
When it was Hillary versus Trump, I was so confident that Hillary was going to become the president that I didn't feel like I needed to do that much.
I guess a lot of us.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I legitimately was not on the edge of my seat because I was like, there's no way this buffoon can become the president. Like, I was literally and there was no doubt in my mind that she was going to be the president.
But that's why it was so stressful this time around, is because I felt like it was the same thing where, like, it was like 50-50. Like, it was off by just such a small percentage. So, like, on election night, like, even though, like, I knew, like, hello, there's mail-in ballots that are gonna come and, like, wait from, it felt very disheartening because, like, all I could think was, this is how it went down last time, and Trump won. Yeah. So I felt very hopeless and just, like, being like, nope, that's it, like, Trump's gonna win, like, there we go, idiocracy took over again, like...
I felt like Trump was not going to win, but I was so scared of, like, jinxing it. That I didn't talk to anyone about it, really. Like, I would only talk about it with other people when someone else brought it up. Mm-hmm. And if they said, like, oh, Biden's gonna win or whatever, I was like, yeah, I think so. But, like, I don't know, you know? Like, I was like I didn't want to say anything. I just felt like I was jinxing it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I think there's so many things I want to talk about. I don't know. I'm struggling with, like, what to talk about first.
I guess I want to talk about the fact that, like, definitely it felt like we all settled for Biden, and I feel like no one was really... On NPR today, when I was coming back from getting my hair done, someone said that Democrats tend to vote with their hearts, and Republicans vote with like
their pocketbook?
No, with their beliefs. Like, you're thinking about, like, rural people and stuff.
Oh.
So, like, they're, like, for things they believe in, like, anti-choice and taxes, like, tax cuts and all this stuff. And then, like, Democrats fall in love with the person. So, like, Democrats will also be like, oh my God, Obama, and, like, everything he stood for, and, like, you know, like, often, like, the Democrats is not, it's like they're kind of saying, like, the reason why, like, oh, we don't really like Trump, but we have such strong, hardcore Republican beliefs and, like, things that tend to fall over into Republicans, that we're going to vote for Republican no matter who the person is. And then Democrats tend to, like, really fall for the person that is a Democratic president. Like, think of Bill Clinton, think of Obama, think of every Democratic president and how, like, people were really, like...
I see that, like, Republicans are really into sticking with the party no matter what.
Yeah,
and Democrats don't quite do that. That's because Democrats don't have as united of a party as Republicans do. Like, the GOP is, like, very, very united as a party. But, like, less recently. I don't know. Not that this is, like, a political podcast, like, talking about the actual structure of government and everything, but I also was listening to something that was talking about how recently, like, the last two presidencies, right, you have Obama and you have Trump, both of them were big characters. And so it almost felt like this election was a rejection of a character as a president and a return to, like, weird, like, traditional presidential ideas. Like, because Biden, to me, doesn't stand out as, like, a character. Like, he doesn't brand to me. To me, Biden just reminds me, like, every speech I was watching of him in the past, 96 hours or whatever, is like, oh my gosh, he's so presidential. Like, I don't think, like, oh, that's so Biden.
Well, that's what
I think,
goes
like,
on.
oh, that's so presidential, which just feels like a return to, like, I don't know.
Well, that's what the second part of what I was going to say is that they were saying that quote, and the reason why I brought that up is because they were saying this time Democrats didn't have someone that they were in love with, that they were, like, inspired by. It was just like, okay, we just need him. We just need, because we need to get Trump out. And it was, like, not a, like you said, a character and someone, like, a personality. It was just like, okay, this is just what we have to do.
It was like a rejection vote instead of a positive. It was like voting more on the negative than on the positive.
And I just feel like now I'm just more excited, like how we were talking about, like, is Warren gonna be head of education now? Is like,
I'd be so stoked.
Perfect world Bernie Sanders.
What if Bernie Sanders is on the cabinet?
Yeah.
What if AOC, even though she won't, but, like, what if AOC was on the cabinet? Like, oh my God.
Yeah, because remember when, like, Trump was first elected, and then it ended up being, like, he had anti-Semitic people.
Yeah, but the thing is that Mitch McConnell still has the Senate, and so that's why, like, the January 5th, I think, vote is super, super important to try and flip the Senate seats, because, like, Mitch McConnell can stop the confirmation of various people into the cabinet. So, like, that could be prevented, which sucks. But,
But yeah. Well, we're still allowed to be happy today, and maybe even tomorrow. And then we just gotta remember, like, Trump still being a big baby, and he still has the presidency.
He still has the lame duck for 96 days or something like that.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'm sure he'll try to do more lawsuits, but...
Oh, for sure. And, like, do random shit that's, like...
Yeah.
Pardoning everyone.
Or pardoning himself.
Or pardoning himself. Or auctioning off the United States secrets or whatever bullshit he decides to
I like the
pull.
whole, when you said, like, watch him try to have a, what's it called, a reality show, like our news channel.
A reality news channel. He would do that. That's so annoying.
Yeah.
But he would do that.
When we were watching the news and they were like, we don't know who he was playing golf with when he found out, I was like, watch it be
a producer.
A producer for, like, a new show. And it's all about, like, some kind of cheesiness with him being a president.
Oh my God. That would. And it would have, like, a pun in the title for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
The worst. Okay, so let's talk about how Kamala Harris is the first female, Black, and South Asian American woman to be elected.
And first immigrant.
And
child
of an immigrant to be elected as Vice President of America.
but she is not the first person of color to be vice president.
Little known fact. You want to tell us a little bit more about that, babe?
So I went on a hunt because I saw a meme and it was like all the vice presidents and it was like all the emojis of like old men.
Yeah.
But there was one that was like slightly darker in the middle area and I was like, And then it had like the black woman at the end. And then I was like, who is this? So I did some Googling and Hoover's vice president, Charles Curtis, was Native American. And he was from the Kaw Nation, born in the Kansas Territory. So he was the first and only other person of color to be a vice president.
But that's amazing that we had someone.
Yeah, especially then. When was it? In the he was born in 1860.
Oh my gosh, that was so long ago.
Yeah, so in 1929, we had a Native American.
Hell yeah.
Vice president.
Yeah, so that's really awesome. And I think what was inspiring and I thought really good to hear, and hopefully they continue to follow through, and obviously like we hold them accountable to this, but in both of their acceptance speeches, both Kamala and Biden were like, we need to fix the racial equality. And we need to deal with systemic racism. And we need to deal... Sorry, he said both. That's why I was saying both. We need to deal with, like, all of these things and healthcare and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah, and then realistically, like, they have 4 years and they have to fight a bunch of uphill battles to even do that. So, like, we'll probably get one of those things, to be honest, to be a realist.
No, totally.
But because it's not like a president, thank God, because imagine what Trump would have got away with. Could just be like, we're going to do this now, and then that happens. It's not a dictatorship.
Yeah, no.
As much as Trump tried to run it like a dictatorship, it's not.
Yeah. So, and that's why it's so much harder with a split government. Mm-hmm. Like... That's why the Senate being Republican and the House being Democrat and the president being Democrat, that's why it's, like, so hard to accomplish things.
But, I don't know, it's just nice to at least know, like, you have two people that have that on their to-do list and things that they already, like, know is wrong. It can be really hard because, you know, ACAB and Kamala Harris...
has, like, supported...
was a cop.
Was and has supported cops in the past.
Exactly. So, like, there's going to be a lot of things still that we have to keep protesting for. And we got to remember, like, we don't want... The last presidency, there were a lot of women, specifically white women, that wore these shirts that said, like, if Hillary would have won, I'd be at brunch right now. And they wore those protests. And to me...
And held signs that said that, too. And
that's just means that, this better person won, so the job's over. Just because this person won the presidency does not mean the fight is over. The world didn't instantly stop being racist, as we saw the numbers, the percentages. There's still systemic racism.
Climate change is still a
sexism.
Problem.
There's so much wrong with the world, and you don't stop fighting just because, like, we have a new president. Now that's all gone away. Yeah. Cops aren't going to kill black people anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's still a huge issue. Yeah. I would like to talk about the Electoral College is, because I wanted to talk about this last week, but I knew that I was going to start talking my way into, like, guessing who the president was going to be. But the Electoral College is so antiquated. It was written for a country that did not have even a quarter of the amount of people that we have. So if you don't know what the Electoral College is, in the world's simplest terms, you probably know it after this week, but the general population of each state determines the amount of electoral votes that each state gets. And so these states are broken up in different, like, counties, and those each report their votes. And then at the end of the state gathering all of their votes, they then send a person or an electorate to go and place the electoral college vote for their state. And essentially, like, so as we saw, like, for example, in Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania has 20 electoral college votes. So whoever gets the most votes in Pennsylvania gets all of those votes. Now, this is the reason why America is a democratic republic and not actually a democracy. So yes, we are built on these ideas of democracy, but we are not a complete democracy. And people often think that we're a complete democracy. And one of the main reasons is because it's not like one person, one vote, and that directly goes to a populace count that determines the presidency, but rather because this electoral college system exists. And that's like so messed up, and it needs to change. And the thing is that people only get fired up about the electoral college and how messed up it is. They only get fired up about that during election season, and we can't make that change during election season. Like, that has to be something that we demand a change for in the middle of like once elections are over and people are in office, you know, like we can't stay silent and forget that this is an issue, because we're going to continue having things like how last time when Trump won, he didn't actually win the popular vote and just won the electoral college, which means that most Americans didn't actually vote for him.
Yeah.
And so that's like a thing that could happen.
And then they say every vote counts.
Yeah, and it does on some level, but it also doesn't. And it's hard because it's like people are like, oh, well, that only happens every once in a while. Yeah, it only happens every once in a while, but it's been happening more often, more recently in years, which demonstrates that the more people that there are, the less effective the electoral college system is. So as our population is growing, this is just becoming more tragic of a system. Sorry, I know you weren't interested in that at all.
It's okay. I totally didn't fall asleep right now. Alright, so yeah, I guess basically we'll see what happens, and then we'll be here to complain or celebrate everything that happens.
I guess that what I imagined us talking about was like, how do we feel in this exact moment, and how have we felt for the last week? And is that just something that's gonna continue happening, or is that just a product of this specific election?
I think it's every election.
Every election? Have you ever felt this hyped up about elections? Do you feel it every time, or?
The last one I felt like this, and Bush for second term felt like this. That's it.
Yeah. But I mean,
I'm old. Gosh, how many presidents
No, but I mean, the anticipation because of the coronavirus. There was so much mail-in vote, so there was way more waiting time. You don't feel like this for this long.
Oh, yeah.
Usually.
No. Usually, the day of.
Yeah, so it's not as prolonged stress.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think it's hard to talk about because it's, still trying to recover over it. It's only Saturday. We just found out today. So, I haven't processed it. Anyways, y'all, so the moral of the story is it's been a rough few days from Tuesday until today is Saturday when we're recording this. By the time this probably goes up on Wednesday, maybe we have processed our emotions about it.
I don't know. I feel like I'm really, really happy with how it turned out, mostly because I just want that out of office. And, honestly, I would replace him with someone I, didn't even like at all. I would replace him with anyone at this point. I'm just so over him and his trash antics. So I'm happy about that, and I'm grateful that it wasn't just a really, really slight win, but that there was he didn't win multiple states. He didn't have to. He won more states than he had to win, which gives me some level of reassurance, and that even these lawsuits that are happening.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. It's like, I'm just like, I think because I went on through so many days, I'm like, do we have to talk about the election anymore? I'm just like, you don't feel like that at all? Like, I'm over it. Like, just let it, just breathe. Like, let's just revel in the fact that, like, Trump is over. Not over, but just for now, let's just, like, be like, yay, Biden, yay, everything's perfect, and be delusional for just, like, the rest of the weekend, and then move on. But I just feel like right now, it's just, like, to even really talk about it, I'm like, when do we get a break? Like, when do we get a break? First, it was just like, vote, make sure everyone votes, hustling, we do the voting thing, then we try to see who's winning, we don't know, now all the mail-in ballots, stressful, and now we're here talking about it on the day that should be celebration, and I'm just like, oh, okay, now it's like, whew, I can't even talk about it anymore. Like, 30 minutes was enough. No. And I'm going to leave that in there. Like, how do you honestly feel? Because I feel like you feel like there's so much more you can say to educate, but at the same time, I think we're, like, on opposites where you're like, you could still go, and I'm just, like, at this weird, like, I want to flip the table over and be like,
I have so much I could talk about. I could talk about politics all day long. I could talk about it all day long, and I'm super hyped on it right now, and I have so much to say, and I could continue talking for the entirety of this episode about it.
Well, that's they say that opposites attract, and unfortunately, we're not a only politics podcast.
No, I know. And I just think that, like, this is, I find it really invigorating to talk about, especially when it's, like, such a fascinating election. I think that there were so many things about this election that were really, really interesting. And so many, like, places within, like, for example, the more liberal or democratic campaign that we're lacking, that we really understood and saw in this election based on turnout. I think it's amazing that the voter turnout was so high, and that like Biden and Harris were elected with more votes than any president in history. Like, I think that that is incredible. I love looking at all these different maps that have, like, the different, you know, counts of, like, oh, white women, you know, fucked over the Democrats again and were racist.
Black women were the ones that pretty much made the difference, because that's almost always the black woman is the one that's mostly getting the most votes in, like, from the demographics. Or,
especially,
like, pushing, go to the polling places, who do you see that's volunteering? Like,
yeah, and the difference that made in Georgia, that literally changed the tide, like, amazing.
Yeah.
But I think that, like, for example, I thought it was really interesting that to finally hear analysis from people in politics about how, like, the way that Democrats just, like, think that any marginalized people group is, like, automatically going to vote Democrat, and now they're finally realizing, like, oh, there are different, you know, country bases within Hispanic cultures, or they're, like, not all black voters have the same agenda, and it's just, like, so refreshing to finally hear, like, actual political people talk about that.
Yeah.
Or politicians, I guess the word is. Like, I just feel like that's always brushed under the rug and never addressed. And to finally hear that being talked about, I just feel like that's a step in the right direction. And I think that that's invigorating to hear that, like, even people who you would think, like, they're never going to change their mind and they're never going to, you know, make any sort of a awareness of the world when it comes to social injustice, that they're actually addressing it, I think is really cool.
Yeah.
So let's go to the wheel world.
Alright, today in the wheel world, we want to talk about how the roller skating community can be self-sustaining. And I was inspired by getting my hair done today by a roller derby and park skater.
Yeah, I mean, I think that so many of the things that we do as roller skaters, because I think it comes from the fact that we're a really small community and that there's not a lot of, like, outside sponsorships to the skate community, like, not a lot of outside companies or organizations are pumping money into roller skating the same way that they are in other extreme sports, such as like extreme sports, like skateboarding. Other industries are like pumping money into skateboarding, and with roller skating it's more like we do it ourselves. And so what we've been talking about recently is how so many of the things that we do, we try and support other roller skaters with our money. So the same way that, like, I don't know, like whenever you have friends who are really good at different things because they're their professions, you will go to those friends in order to give them money. We try and do that not just with our friends, but with the skate community in general.
For me, I thought in my head, I was comparing it to what I imagine like sororities and fraternities to be like, where it's kind of like, you're a skater, I'm a skater, and you learn a bit about them, so then you kind of have that trust, and then you just go to those people for everything. Like, it's a little, like, system. Like, instead of having, like, a little ring or a necklace you're wearing, it's like your skates are the, like, oh, I know I can count on you.
Like, instead of just coming up and being like, are you a Phi Cap?
Yeah.
Whatever
that.
I don't know what that is. That was just a great... That was a great...
like, is that from Legally
No,
Blonde?
this is Illuminati, and,
yeah, or the Illuminati. That's the same as the skate community.
Same idea, yeah.
But yeah, so like my tooth gems are from a roller skater. Some of my tattoos are from a roller skater. My hair was done by a roller skater.
Our photographer is a roller skater.
Yeah.
The person who built our ramp is a roller skater.
No, he's a skateboarder.
But he's married to a roller skater.
Yeah, but married to a roller skater.
And their money.
And same thing, like, there was something else I was thinking of, and I was like, oh no, that's a roller skater.
We buy skates from roller skaters.
But basically,
I got my nails done by a roller skater.
Yeah, or no, I know what it was. Like, even knee pads, like 187 Pro Derby pads, or like whatever kind of knee pads they make that I've gotten and used is by Vinton, who's a skateboarder. So I feel like it's still skate community. And I think at first it wasn't intentional, but lately, like, I've been like, that's like a plus for me. Or another thing is not even an exchange, but like you'll notice a lot of roller skaters that like need help, and they'll post like that they're struggling financially on like Instagram or somewhere, and then like you'll see roller skaters donating money to them. So it's like you're gonna be okay. Like whether you get injured at the skate park, you can't make rent because like you lost your job because of COVID. Usually these other skaters will see you, and even if they don't know you or they only skated with you a couple times, they're more likely to be like, I'm going to donate to you as a roller skater, even if that's the only thing we have in common, than like when it's just some random person they've never met before or seen before.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that that's something that I've really been considering moving into this like holiday season, where there's a lot of focus on gift giving. And I think that one of the ways that we can support the roller skating community is by buying gifts for other people from roller skaters. So if you know of a roller skating shop, or like a artist who skates, or someone who just sells on Etsy who's a roller skater, like try and get gifts from them for the people in your life, because that's a good way to kind of combat that like big corp capitalism.
Yeah, like
thing.
Instead of, and it sucks because like some companies, and I think there's one of a skate shop, and there's a couple others. They have tried. They're trying to battle with Amazon. So now they're starting to sell on Amazon. And it's,
I didn't know that.
So like you can sometimes find things on Amazon and you're like, oh, I thought this was like an Etsy shop or a skate shop, and it's just because like they can't keep up with like them. So Amazon will suck up companies like that sometimes, because eventually they're like, oh, people are going to get this product for cheaper, for faster through Amazon, so now I have to like lower my price, throw my stuff on Amazon too. So like just remember, like even if you know you can get it on Amazon, go ahead and get those wheels, that skate leash, those toe caps, whatever it is, those actual skates from a skate shop.
Yeah, and
just order earlier.
Order early.
Yeah, and then like, sorry, I know you probably want to get skates for Christmas or someone, but you're not going to get them in time.
You're not going to get skates for someone for Christmas in time. Period. It's too late already.
Buy them, print out the receipt, and put it in a box. And guess what? Your skates will be here in spring. Yeah.
Print out a picture of some skates. Make a skate piñata. And be like, this might be some fun for now, but then in the spring you'll get real skates.
But yeah, I don't know, there's something so cool to me about knowing, like, even our baker, like, we don't have a baker, but, like...
She said that sounded so bougie, our baker.
Because, like, whenever there's a birthday party, we need a cake, we go to...
Our derby coach.
Yeah. So roller skater, and she owns a bakery. Mm-hmm. And I've promoted her on my Instagram before. She made that beautiful black cake with the neon orange spiders crawling up it.
She also made the cake of Shov's actual butt.
Yeah, it looked like Lizzo's
this last year.
Yeah, it was great. And made Rebel a full-on rainbow cake.
So sick.
So, like, that's, like, our spot to go for, like, designer cakes. And the fact that, like, one, we know her, but two, like, she's a roller skater. I don't know, like, some people would be like, that's kind of weird. But it's just, like, how, like, Black-owned businesses, like, we want to support Black-owned businesses specifically in the Black community. It just holds something in there. The skate community is, like, a little thing too. Like, you have all these sub communities and you want to uplift one another. And I think there's something, like, when I look at, like, a tattoo and I'm like, oh yeah, Ash is, like, a badass tattoo artist, but also, like, she's a badass skater. And that makes me feel like I have something in common with you. And it's, like, another, like, kind of...
Yeah, I mean, it's literally a culture thing. Like, you're in an in-group with all of these other skaters because you have this baseline common denominator with them. But what's cool about, I think the reason why this works for the skate community as it does with the Black community is because you're not just Black. Like, you're Black and you also have all of these skills on top of it. And just in that same way, when you transfer that idea over to roller skating, you're not just a roller skater. Like, 90% of the roller skaters you meet are not making their salary or their, like, living wage off of roller skating. Yeah. They're doing something else as a career. And so they have a specialty in something. And so you could connect with all these people on the basis of roller skating and then be like, oh, you're also, like, you're a massage therapist.
And you'll also, like, see people doing, like, trade for trade, which is awesome. Like, bartering. Like, oh, if you give me a skate lesson, like, I'll give you a small tattoo. Or, like, oh, like, I'll trade you some stickers for that patch you made. Like, which is really cool, too. Because it's, like, we pass so much money hand to hand, like at the skating shop. That was a perfect example. Like, one girl was literally like, I've been wanting to buy some of your art, like, do you want to just do a trade? So I was buying something off of her, like, I was buying her some earrings off of her, and then I was like, yeah, sure. And then even though, like, my print was less than her earrings, I was like, oh, wait, let me throw you some cash. And she was like, no, we're good. And that's, like, what's cool, because it's like, hey, so many times, like, you bought from my table, I'm just going to walk to your table, buy something, and it's like, doesn't make sense, we're just passing money back and forth. Yeah. So I do like the idea of just, like, bartering.
Yeah, and I also love the idea, too, like, branching off of that, is that people can use their skills to enhance the skate community. And that's something that I've seen that's been really beautiful, that I actually enjoy. So, like, for instance, my friend Savage, she is a graphic designer and does, like, advertising and all this sort of stuff. And she uses her skills to, like, help other people within the skate community to develop their brands. Like, she helped me create my logo for my Queer Girl Straight Skates thing.
She has an adult job.
She has an adult job. And she, like, yeah, so she definitely didn't have to take the time from her, like, very adult clients to, like, help me out, but she did, and that was something that I was so incredibly grateful for. But at the same time, her efforts to help me also helps me to help other people.
Yeah, she also, like, collabs with Skate, which is what is it called?
Heretic Skate.
Yeah, Heretic Skate, and also helped Roller Rouge, who needed a high-res logo because his logo was too pixelated, so he couldn't use it for any merch or anything. And she went ahead and helped him with that, and gave him like 3 colorways and stuff, and just stuff like that. I feel like you're just more inclined to help someone that you see that, like, is inspiring to you, or, like, it's crazy. Like, you get these skates and now you're in the community and, like,
yeah, it's wild.
You don't even know, like, how supportive it is. It's like, I don't know. It's like
the skate community is awesome.
Yeah.
It's really great. Yeah, I like it.
I do like it. What do you offer to the skate community, babe?
Well, I'm a teacher by trade. So I'm literally, I teach public speaking and like communication studies and all that sort of stuff. And you probably hear some of that coming out when you listen to this podcast because I infiltrate a lot of theories, like communication theories, even if I'm not actually saying the name of the theories, I'm infiltrating them into this conversation.
So if you need a speech coach or a public speaking coach.
Yeah, like if you ever need public speaking help or you need a speech writer or someone to edit your speeches or anything like that, like I'm really good at that. But I think that I specifically use, because when I was getting my master's degree, I studied instructional communication. So I learned how to teach well. And so because my trade is in teaching well and in communicating, I think that's why my niche has become YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I'm literally teaching people how to skate and I'm using a lot of the instructional methods. And also my other subdivision of like things I studied in grad school was digital literacy. So like I literally like studied like how to be a good teacher on the internet.
Oh
and then
gosh.
Not only is that like directly translating into this world of COVID, but it like directly translates into YouTube and everything too. So it's kind of been a wild ride, and I never would have guessed that that's why I would have studied all this stuff. But I found that me having studied that has really helped me to help other people. I think hopefully help a lot of people within the skate community.
Nice. I don't think I have anything that helps, but I'm here.
You do art.
I'm just a helper. I just give my money to people.
Well, and your art is really helpful to other people.
Yeah, I have like stuff like that. I don't have, I guess like for me it's just like physical things like that, but I don't have like,
I don't think that's true. I disagree. I think that your craft, the thing that you like really bring to the skate community is your ability to build other people up with your words. Like, I think that you are like I think you have a very strong skill of motivational speaking, whether that's to an individual or to a group of people. And I think that you bring that to the skate community, and that the skate community really benefits from that. Like, that you build other people up, and that's needed.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah, I think that who are we as a skate community if we're not encouraging people to stay and push through the hard times of being a skater? And I feel like you're one of the reasons why people stay within the skate community. And without that retaining, without that like glue, then we disperse. Like we don't maintain our community. And so I think that you're a very vital part for the skate community.
Well, thanks. I don't feel worthless anymore.
Well, good. You should never feel worthless.
We all have our part.
We do.
But yeah, I don't know. I just really like it. I don't know. I really like, especially knowing, like, I think with COVID and everything, and like realizing like how much money I was saving from not being able to just like go on shopping sprees and go here and there and whatever it may be, like spoil myself with like, I remember being like, where's all my money going? And it was because like we went out and ate like fancy dinners, not even that fancy, but just like went all out, or like, I don't know, just anything. Like you just end up spending money, and then like you start seeing like people struggling, or like people that like had like secure jobs but then they had to close down. And when it opened, I started really like, I don't know, like thinking like, okay, I've been homeless before. I've been like dirt poor before. You've been dirt poor before. And by no means are we like rolling in the dough right now, but we're not going without, which is like a grateful place to be. So when I see someone that I know, like, especially when they're trying to earn the money or they really need it, like if I can help, I try to. Like, and even if that's just like sharing a post when like people post their Venmo or something, or that they're struggling, like if you don't need money to help someone, like you can promo them by like sharing their artwork, their like tattoo work, their hairstyles that they've done, like whatever it may be, whatever their trade is. I think like just using your platform to like share it helps that person a lot. Or if you have the money to like go ahead and like get a tattoo that you want from that person in the skate community, or like go get that tooth gym, or go get your hair done, or whatever it is.
Being that connection for other people. Like if you have your ear open and then your finger on the pulse of the community, then like when someone says, oh, I've been really wanting to get a tattoo, you could be like, I have a friend. Her name is Ash. She does great tattoos. Or like, if you hear someone being like, yeah, I'm about to go in for an interview and I have no preparation for going into interviews. You could be like, oh, well, Rebel actually teaches a whole thing on interviewing, maybe she could help you. And so you can help other people just by being the link.
Yeah.
As well.
A skater and teacher got me that gig, like doing a motivational speaking to a school, to a private high school. So there's definitely like little connections, and like don't hesitate to reach out, and like even if it's to like help someone that's not a skater, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
Then just make those connections to kind of help us stay employed and doing what we do and like thriving, because roller skating doesn't keep food on the table. All right, y'all, it's time for 2 Girls, 1 Pop.
In 2 Girls, 1 Pup, we want to say a little special happy birthday, because it's Bowie's birthday this last week.
Woo!
That's right. This little pup old fart is 8 years old.
Bowie.
Wow.
How does it feel to be 8? It feels great.
I'm torn down by life.
Yeah, Bowie had a birthday and he had a puppy patty.
He had a puppy patty from In-N-Out because that's his favorite.
So it was a good day. We didn't make it down to the bake shop.
Yeah, we were going to, but he likes puppy patties just as well, so we figured he would be fine with that. And he played with his toy a lot, and we wanted to invite all his dog friends over, but he hates other dogs, so he doesn't have any dog friends. So he just got lots of loving, some ear scratches, some tummy rubs.
Head massage, because Bobo love head massage.
Lots of kisses. I sang him a song.
Yeah. So
he likes it when we sing to him.
Happy birthday, Bowie. We love you.
Happy birthday, Bobo.
You're the greatest old man I've ever met.
You're the best old man child Benjamin Button dog.
There he goes. He's like, I go to sleep now.
And cuddling with your phone.
Oh, little potato.
He's like, if I cuddle with a phone, does that make me a millennial?
I wish I could keep you up here, Bobo.
But you breathe too heavy. Thanks for hanging out. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Bobo.
Happy birthday to you.
You are so old. You're 8 years old. That's like 100 in doggy years.
Hey.
This is your birthday song. It is a very long.
Babe.
Hey.
No.
My name is Bowie. Yeah, I am a dog. Yeah,
Babe.
I am so old.
Babe.
Yeah, it is my birthday.
Oh, Bowie's so lucky he's deaf right now.
Whatever, he loves it when we sing to him.
Thanks, Bowie.
Thanks for hanging out for 2 Girls, 1 Pup, Bowie. All right, it's time for Dear Shovel.
We're going to give some advice.
Yeah, so, babe, why don't you tell the people how they can send in messages to Dear Shovel?
Email.
Dearskatedate. Oh my god, always.
Email dearskatedate
@gmail.com with your questions. Okay, this one says, I hope this email finds you well. First and foremost, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing yourself, your wins, your vulnerabilities, your struggles, and your victories. You are so encouraging, and I return to your podcast and videos for support and energy. Question, how do you handle your work-life balance? I recently graduated, working at a new job, living with my boyfriend for the first time, and picked up a love for roller skating. Most days I have dread for, quote, going to work. I'm working from home virtually, and it has been a big struggle to separate home from work. I don't want to bring the stress from work into home, but sometimes it gets really, really overwhelming. Could you please share some tips, tricks, ideas, or approaches? Thank you. Wishing you both all the best and sending you shimmery, glittery bushels of energy.
Aww.
Warmly, Skater Wannabe.
Aww.
That's so cute.
Well, I'm the tip and she's the trick, so let's go with this advice.
Oh my gosh. First of all, thank you so much, Skater Wannabe, for emailing us. We really appreciate you.
Oh, and thank you for saying Dear Shove, which Rebel just left out.
Yeah, because I thought we were leaving that out.
Why?
Because this is Dear Shovel, not Dear Shove. And if I had just said Dear Shove, then it would be directing the question at you, just you.
No, but because I think it's funny because I need help with this too. So even though you started out with Dear Shove, you really mean Dear Rebel. Because that's why I wanted it to stay in there.
Oh.
And she did also mention you in it, so it's not specifically for me. But I wanted to laugh because I was like, ooh, how do you separate it? Like, I literally had to, like, even though I can do work from home right now, like, be like, I need to leave because I can't do anything when I'm here. I'm not getting anything done because it just feels like I'm in home mode. Like, I'm in lazy mode. Like, I don't know. Like, I want to, like, have it separated. And it's really hard to do that when you're...
Yeah, well, I mean, the point is that it's really hard. A lot of people are struggling with this exact issue right now. Mm-hmm. And there are many tips, tricks, and things that you can do to deal with it. But let me first give you a little background to me. I'm also struggling with work-life balance right now. I am working from home completely. And I tend to go to the opposite side than what Shove does. Shove tends to be like, I'm at home, I can't work at all. Whereas I'm at home and I'm working and I never turn off work. So I never stop working because I don't have that moment where I like clock out or leave the workplace. I just like am in my office all day long. And so I just never know how to put up that boundary. Yeah. So I've been doing a lot of research and talking to a lot of people and developing strategies for myself. And this is what I've found that works the best. The first thing to do is to separate a working space from your living and home space. And so if it's possible, even if it's just like a small corner of your house that you can claim as like, this is the area where I work, and when I am pretending like I'm clocking in, I walk over to this area, I have a little, ritual that I set up, and then I go on to like start my work day, then great. Awesome, you're there. And then as soon as when you're taking your lunch break, you would leave the office and like actually take a break and then come back to the office. So you're essentially creating an office space for yourself. And then once you leave your desk or your little corner for the day, then you stop working. So it's like you create a physical space that makes it feel like you're going to work and then coming home from work. Mm-hmm. And that's really helped me.
Yeah, that helped me before, like, summer hit and it got really hot and I could come to the garage and work and then, like, go back in the house because it felt like, yeah, like I was actually going somewhere and then, like, just focusing on that and not getting distracted by 100 other things.
Yeah. So. Another thing you can do is to set up an actual schedule for yourself. So when we are working from home, it's really easy to just be like, oh, I don't have to be at work at any specific time. So you just sleep in until whenever you wake up, you trudge on over to your desk or the couch or wherever, and then you just jump on the computer. You're like, I guess I'm working now. And you just work until, whenever your work is done. But instead, you should say, I'm going to start work at 9 a.m. And maybe if you're like, I'm going to work from 9 to 5, or maybe for you, it's something different. Maybe you work from 10 until 6, or maybe you just have a few hours of work. Either way, you set up your work time and you decide to go to work at a certain time every day of your work week. So like, for me, I try and get in front of my computer by 7:30 a.m. every day. And then I know I'm working until a certain time. Then I take a 30-minute lunch break and I leave my desk and then I come back to my desk afterwards. And then I work until, 6 p.m.-ish. And having that specific time that you allocate directly to work and then being like, okay, that time is done, and then leaving and allocating that time to be at home and be with your building your relationships and
has
stuff.
something to say.
Yeah.
Like, that's all good, too. And that's all, like, really good advice. But also, I think it's really important we focus on a big part of what their email was, is that the relationship aspect. I have some thoughts on that one. So, for me, I feel like it's hard because we get distracted by one another, too. And let me see.
It's about bringing the stress. Yeah, living with a boyfriend for the first time.
Yeah, bringing that stress
and bringing the stress from work into home.
Yeah. So I think it's like really important to mention the relationship aspect, because for Rebel and I, it's like we're gonna easily distract one another, because it's like one of us is like not in work mode, kind of, or just kind of like, oh, looking at our phone, and then we're like, oh, look at this, and then each other, and that can be distracting. Or you can be stressed out by your job, and then you're gonna take that out on whoever's closest to you, and that's gonna be the person in your relationship, unfortunately. And I am a big person that loved having a shitty day at work, and I would literally sit in my car in the parking lot, either outside of my job or even outside of the house, for like a good 5 to 15 minutes and just decompress, because that's like how I don't bring it in, and it gives me like that buffer to just be like, and then like plateau and not just be like, okay, I'm frustrated, versus like something frustrating in the moment, and then I'm like, and then like Rebel asks me a question, and then I snap at her because she's the closest person,
which has happened so many times since quarantine started.
So it's like really hard, because I think that's a lot of people in relationships right now that have to work from home, is like you have to have balance. You also have to know how to communicate with your partner, and then like also like learn that you no longer kind of have that privacy you used to have, or these little buffers where you used to have. So like that again would be like having your own personal space versus like trying to always work and be in the same spot, if you're lucky enough to like have a big enough area to not be in the same room. Because in the beginning it seems fun, like, oh, I can be working and have my partner right here on the couch with me, but then like that starts creating issues. So you still also again need to have like your separate like communicator, like, oh, when you're gonna take a break, and then maybe have your like, you know, quotations lunch break together or something. But like make sure you're still blocking out that time, like Rebel said, like for working, or going into a different area of the house to work. If something like you're stressed out, maybe go for a walk or something, or walk or skate or something, and then come back, instead of just like taking it out on your partner.
Yeah, and I think it's important to prioritize your relationship as well. Like you have to, in the same way that you allocate time for work, you have to allocate time for relationship building. Like you really have to make sure that you're carving out time to spend with your partner, and like just spending time with them, being with them, whether it's making dinner or whatever it is that you enjoy doing with your partner. Because the worst thing in my head, and maybe this is like a Pisces thing, but like the worst thing is just to live in a house, like to cohabitate with someone and then feel like, oh, you live with them, but you like never get to actually talk to them or never get to actually hang out with them. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's something that's happened with me, because I struggle so much with like, oh, well, I don't set strong enough boundaries between work and home. And so, like, if I get a call from my boss or if something is leaking over, I'll just work on it until I'm done, instead of saying, I can pick this up again tomorrow. And that to me demonstrates that I'm not putting enough priority on my relationship and calling that time sacred, that I'm allowing my work to be more important than my relationship. And so it's really, really important that you figure out where your priorities lie, and then you use actions to follow up on your priorities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. It just sucks. It's hard. It's really hard to just, like, learn how to navigate in times like this.
I hate it.
These are new normal, though.
It's the worst. Like, it's literally the worst. I hate it so much.
So, basically, yeah, just communication, creating spaces, Oh, I hate that word.
Compartmentalizing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big part of that. And, like, also, like, before I had more of a scheduled job, like, I was trying this thing, like, maybe you should try it, like, with your partner, where, like, I would tell Rebel, like, hey, like, what's your week look like? And have our planners out, so we kind of knew what one another was doing, so we could make time for one another or schedule things that we could. So it's like, if I knew she had a heavy work day, that I would put a lot of my heavy stuff on that day. So that way it wasn't like one of us was still working while the other one was off and being like, hang out with me. Like,
Yeah.
Or like, I thought we were going to watch a movie tonight or something. So keep that in mind too. Like, maybe just like, you know, goes back to the whole communication thing.
Yeah, and this also ebbs and flows with different, like, parts of your life, too. Like, when I was in grad school, my life was significantly more busy all the time. And Chev was kind of like, well, I guess this is the time when you do things and I help you, you know? And that was just, like, a part of our life. And so there are going to be some busier times and some less busy times. And it's all about, like, knowing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel with some of those times, and also just about, like, being aware and, like, communicating about what's happening with you, with your partner.
Balance is hard.
It is. That's why I bought a balance board to practice. Yeah. I bought a balance board to practice.
That you used once and never looked back
I
at.
did. I used once. It was awesome.
But yeah, so I hope we gave you some good pointers in there. I know it can be hard. I don't think anyone really has the right answer. You just got to see what works for you. Try some of them out. Not everything we do will work for you, but hopefully something did.
Yeah. All right. That was Dear Shovel. And as a continuation, kind of Dear Shovel, we want to shout out Skater Wannabe. We don't know if you're the same person, but we think that maybe you are. Thank you so much for giving us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. We super appreciate you.
Skater Wannabe, Skater Soon-to-be, Skater is.
Skater is. Also, like, I just really love this part. Wish I could give this podcast 8 wheels, but 5 stars will have to suffice. Aww. And they say that they feel empowered by us, which I just love. I thought this whole message was so freaking sweet, and we appreciate you so much. And so when you leave messages on our podcast, rating us on Apple Podcasts, we love it, and we shout you out on our podcast.
Yes, and why is it important? Because the more reviews we get, the more legitimate we look, and the more chances that maybe one day Apple Podcast sweeps us up and shares us to the world.
Which is what we want. That would be awesome. Thanks for watching this episode of Skate Date.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll take y'all on another date. Just kidding, we're definitely going on another date.
Obviously, we're going to go on another date.
Especially on a hump day.
Hump day?
So, next week we won't talk about the election. We'll give you a break.
I promise I won't talk about election.
We'll give you a break. We'll give you a break from politics.
The only way politics are coming back are if the Civil War ends up happening. But it looks like...
Knock on wood. I don't know. I think it's because he hasn't realized what's happening yet.
He still thinks he won.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to evict him.
Yeah, well...
Security!
That'll be a fascinating experience.
Anyways, we love you so
much. We'll see you next time.